Hello everyone, welcome to my ranking. Last year we did something you all seem to really like, and the video is ranking all the Dungeon Quest dungeons. I don't know its view count when actually doing this video, but I know it's over 950 views, close to 1,000, which is kind of insane, so yeah, thank you all for that. And before we get into the ranking, just like last time, this will not be counting any holiday or Halloween events and Christmas Invasion because it would be unfair to rank them because they were not permanent, and I won't be including Global Boss or Elemental Raids because they're not dungeons. So with that out of the way, enough of yapping, let's get onto the video. Starting the list off is the old version of Raided Village at number 12. So yeah, the reason why this is last place is due to getting overshadowed by other dungeons, just like the legacy version of Desert Temple in Dungeon Quest. And due to that, it just can't be ranked any higher. And the Expert and Chaos ones for these may be cool looking, but let's be real here. Most of the Chaos versions of these dungeons just look really good. So yeah, well, let's get on to the old version of Ragnaroks Descent at number 11. And well, we're followed up by another dungeon, which was revamped later on. Not much really to say about this dungeon, except it looks really good. I like the space and the galactic theme of this dungeon, but as we will see later on, the revamped version of this dungeon does it way better, sadly, causing this to become the second to last on the list. So yeah, let's get on to number 10. Next on our list is Cursed Marshes at the number 10 spot, our first non-revamp on the list. There's nothing really much to say about the dungeon. I like the nature theme, and it does look good. And the bosses kind of have unique abilities, but it's our first more so nothing dungeon on the list, so there isn't really much to say about it. I like it, but it ain't like a favourite or anything. Alright, let's get on to the next one. 9th spot, we have Sunken Fortress. The only reason why this is not higher and is only 9th is due to its length and being outshadowed by other dungeons on the list. I like the attacks and the bosses, they all have really nice attacks on Chaos, but sadly I just can't put this any higher than 9th, sadly. But this is better than Cursed Marshes, because at least I have something to say about the dungeon. And also, I somehow dropped a legendary spell and a mage legendary helm somehow. Mage. But now let's move on to the 8th spot and get a revamp on the list. And the revamped dungeon is the newer version of Raided Village at the number 8 spot. This dungeon looks good. Well, I like the more so theme it goes by, how the original Raided Village went, but it's changed to be completely different in a good way. Even though the attacks may look basic, even though I can't see the attacks because I want everything, it makes sense why they are simple. It's the first dungeon and the creators of the game just don't want the first dungeon to be like impossibly hard. But with that out of the way, time to go on to the number 7 spot. Okay, I know. Why is the newer version of Ragnaroks Descent at the number 7 spot? Don't you know how to do placements? Or why is this a copy of the lowest 2 on the list? Okay, I can explain. The reason why this is placed at number 7 is due to what is coming after this. Well, the revamp looks awesome and makes it look amazing compared to the old version of Ragnaroks Descent. It just can't compare to what the second half of the list is going to have, placement-wise. So yeah, I really like this dungeon, but it sadly just can't go any higher than the number 7 spot. But yeah, onwards to the halfway point of the list. I have been debating on if I should do this or not, but anyways. So for the second half of the list, there will be a little thing, design, gameplay and song, which I'll be rating out of 10. And there'll be an overall score also, which will be rated out of 10. So yeah, this is also my own opinion on what I think is what. It won't be calculated etc. like using Microsoft Excel or whatever, because that's way too confusing. But this is also inspired by many people's rankings. I mean, like the overall score thingy. Also, this is just an excuse to use the song in the background now for like the rest of the rankings. So yeah, enough talking, let's get into the second half of the list. Let's go electrical and having Thundering Peaks at the number 6 spot. This dungeon also feels like a better Ragnaroks Descent, and the awesome designs of the bosses etc. are good looking. For this one I gave design a 7, looks pretty nice, song a 8, just much to say except I really like song, and gameplay a 6/7. While the attacks may not look that unique, they're good in its own way. And the overall score of a 7.5. Has good design, mobs and bosses. But now, on to the top 5 everyone. Starting us off in the top 5 is Fallen Paradise. So just think of it like a Fabled Legacy version of Samurai Palace from Dungeon Quest. This has very good designs. I like how this dungeon looks, and for the scores for design I have 8.5. I really like the design. Song I gave a 6, not much really going on. And gameplay I gave 8 because the dungeon has very unique attacks and an overall score of 7.8. So yeah. But the next ranking was more so a decision on if I prefer the other colour or pink. And we'll try and see what that could be. And that was between pink and green. Welcome to Eternal Domain at the number 4 spot. I really like how this dungeon looks and how the green contrasts to the patterns on the flooring. This is a really bright and unique looking dungeon, and for the scores I allow for design a 9. It has very good designs and the look to the dungeon, especially the water-filled stairs you go up. For gameplay I gave a 7. They have different and nice looking attacks. And for song I gave it an 8.6. I really like how the song is. Definitely fits with the dungeon theme, and the overall score of an 8.15. And just like Sunken Fortress I dropped a legendary, but this time we dropped a legendary spell and a legendary weapon. Also, next dungeon, well, if you have been watching my Playing Fabled Legacy series, you may recognise this next ranking. Beginning us off in the top 3 is Ethereal Farland at the number 3 spot. Yep, this was a decision on how I wanted this top 3 to go, because either one of these dungeons could be ranked from like 1 to 3, but for this dungeon I think this dungeon just looks awesome and feels awesome to play. Kind of reminds me of Cursed Marshes in a way on how everything looks. So as for our rankings here, design is at 8.7, awesome designs, just really like how this dungeon looks. Gameplay is an 8, the only thing dragging this score down is just the weeping angels, they're kind of annoying. Song a 8.5, fits the dungeon theme it was going for, and an overall score of an 8.5. Overall a very good dungeon, but the next two, well, you'll just have to find out. Now for the most recent dungeons release as of making this video, and that is Hellbound Sanctum at the number 2 spot. This dungeon, for being like the 10th dungeon, it does a very good job on the hell-like theme it is going for. And I know this may be recently biased but for this ranking, but I really like this dungeon. So for the scores, it is for design a 9. This dungeon has just some of the best designs in the game. I like how they look. Gameplay is a 9, very unique and different attacks you would not really usually expect from a dungeon like this. And song a 9.5, very good soundtrack for this dungeon, especially that last boss in Chaos. Its song is just really good, with an overall score of a 9.3. So next dungeon is flipping awesome, and that is Stardust Citadel takes the number 1 spot. This dungeon is so good. Oh, this dungeon is very good, like as I said, but the attacks, everything about this good dungeon just looks so good. By far my favourite dungeon in the game. And the scores may come as a shock, but the design is a 9.5 for the awesome look to the dungeon and mobs plus bosses throughout the dungeon. Gameplay is a 9, awesome attacks, nothing much to say there, and song is surprisingly a 10, and in my opinion gives me actual atmosphere and feel when playing the dungeon, unlike the other 12 on the list. And the overall score of a 9.75. This is one of the best dungeons in the game, and in my opinion it just makes it take the number 1 spot. And well, with that, just like last time, take it away, future me. So there we go, all of the dungeons ranked, including the old and new versions of Raiders Village and Ragnaroks Descent. I really hope you all enjoyed this video because it took so long to do, and unlike the other rankings where I had to remember a script and say what I want to say, this time I'm reading from the script. So yeah, and I will not be able to remember so much at once. For example, the top 2 and 1 together, etc. I wouldn't be able to remember that without a script in front of me. So yeah, and if you haven't checked it out, this is technically pre-quarters video, and that's my Dungeon Quest ranking video. But instead of Dungeon Quest, this time it's Fabled Legacy. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's end the video. Hope to see you all soon. And when you are watching this, thank you for 1,000 views on the Dungeon Quest ranking video. I think it should hit it by that time, because I have it right now. But yeah, anyways, enough of that. See you all soon.